Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Emily and today we are going to be doing the Reading Rush Stay-at-Home Tag and TBR. So the Reading Rush, formerly known as Booktubeathon, is a yearly readathon that happens, I believe, in July. But this year, because of COVID-19 and all of us staying at home to help stop the spread of COVID-19, they've decided to do a stay-at-home reading rush, which is like a smaller version of the Reading Rush, and I am super excited to do the tag and share my TBR with you guys. So this readathon is going from the 16th to the 19th of this month, which is April. We're in April, and I am just so jazzed. The first question of the tag is, how is your reading going at home? So when I first got home from France, I was in self-isolation for 2 weeks. So basically, I was in one section of my house all by myself. Nobody else came in or out of that area. I did not leave. And yeah, so I was fully isolated. And I mean, what else was I gonna do, right? It's not like I had people to like hang out with or talk with. So I did a lot of reading. I think my best day during those 2 weeks was April 1st. I read 4 books in that day, and that was pretty crazy for me. But yeah, now that I am out of that self-isolation and am just social distancing, staying at home with my family, I haven't gotten as much reading done because I've been watching a lot of different Netflix series with my mom. We have become obsessed with the genre on Netflix. It's like British crime drama. So like we've watched The Five, we watched Retribution, and now we're watching Broadchurch, which is really good. So my reading has gone a little bit downhill, but hopefully with the Reading Rush, I will get it back up there. Question number 2 is, where have you been reading at home? When I was in self-isolation, obviously I was reading in the well, I guess 2 rooms, because I had a room and then a bathroom, and I was reading in those 2 rooms exclusively. Now that I am just in my home, I've been doing a lot of reading still in the bath. The bath is always like my #1 place to read. I love it. I can just like lay in the water and enjoy the warmth and the quiet. And I do a lot of reading down in the kitchen living space, although that can be hard because the bird flies around and he likes to eat books and he likes to eat your toes if you're not paying attention, or your slippers. My slippers are looking pretty ratty. They've had all the pom-poms ripped off of them. It's just a lot. Number 3 is the best book you have read during self-isolation or social distancing. And for me, that is The Wicked Deep by Shay Earnshaw. This book was incredible. I loved it a lot. It basically follows this one girl, and in her town every year the ghosts of these 3 witchy sisters come and they inhabit the souls of girls and kill boys, and she falls in love and has to make sure that the guy that she falls in love with doesn't get killed. And it was so good. I gave it 5 stars. The ending made me kind of sad, but like there was no other way that the book could end, you know what I mean? And I feel like I say that a lot about a lot of books, like, oh, I didn't like the ending, but there was no other possible ending. But like any book that ends not in like a perfectly wrapped up package of like happily ever after, I'm like, I didn't like the ending, but that's the best ending there could possibly be. And even when it does end in like they all lived happily ever after, I'm like, well, is that really realistic? So really, endings for me are very catch-22. Next question is, what is your favorite feel-good book? I thought about this one for a really long time, and it was really hard for me to think about like what just makes me like feel good. And finally I was like, you know what? Middle grade. Whenever I'm feeling upset or stressed or overwhelmed, I always go towards middle grade, because although I love YA, I'm a YA girl at heart, sometimes like with the love triangles and the drama, like I just can't, and I just want a middle grade book where we're fighting against evil librarians or we're a race against time. Like middle grade books they get me, you know? And so I have my favorite middle grade series to share, which is the Sisters Grimm series by Michael Buckley. I absolutely adore this series. This is one of the only book series I kept from when I myself was a middle grade, in middle grades. Yeah, so I love the Sisters Grimm a lot. There are 8 books in the series, and then there's like the little special like who's who. And this is the first book, The Fairy Tale Detectives. And basically it follows 2 sisters, Sabrina and Daphne. Absolutely. Sabrina and Daphne Grimm, and they are the ancestors of the original Brothers Grimm. And surprise, all fairy tale creatures are in fact real and live in a town called... who knows what the town is called, but they all live there. Next question is a book you wish you could buy or borrow from the library. And for that I have this series here, but you'll notice I have book 1, book 2, and book 4. I don't have book 3. When I purchased the series, I got all the books from Book Outlet and they didn't have the 3rd book, so I was like, okay, like it'll come up. I still haven't been able to get my hands on the 3rd book. I read the first 2 books and loved them, but I can't read the 4th book until I read the 3rd book, so I am out here looking for The Isle of Blood by Rick Yancey. I did get a little Easter present of an Amazon gift card electronically sent to me, so I think that's where that's gonna go. But of course with Amazon shipping times, because of, you know, they're making sure that they can send out essential things first, I don't know when I'll be able to get that. And of course it's really hard for a lot of us to be buying books right now when we are struggling financially because of the economic repercussions of this. I can't really think of any other thing to use the gift card for those, so I'm kind of just allowing myself to treat myself because this is a difficult time for all of us, and if I can just make myself a little happy with a book, then let's do her. Next question was, who is an author that you want to shout out during this time? And I chose Deanna Rayburn. She wrote the Veronica Speedwell mystery series, and she has written another series. I will put an image of it up here or here or here. I don't know. I'll put it somewhere on the screen. I love Deanna Rayburn's writing. It's like cozy mystery-esque, but better written. I'm so sorry. I am such a cozy mystery fan, but like... But these books are super well written. I wish I could be super well spoken today, but I am just getting all sorts of tongue-tied. And they're really good. They're fun, like murder mysteries, and they're set in like the Victorian era. Veronica is such an icon. Stoker, a dreamboat, and it's just such a good series. And the last question of the tag is to share your TBR, so let's go do that now. I have 4 books on my TBR to talk about because there were 4 prompts, and I'm hoping I can get 4 books read in 3 days. One of them is quite little, so fingers crossed. The first prompt is to read a book with a house on the cover. This was very difficult. I think I pulled out almost every single book on my TBR shelf, but I finally found The War That Saved My Life by Kimberly Brubaker Bradley. And you're like, where's the house? On the back. I had to go to that because I could not for the life of me find a book with a house on the cover. I have multiple books with the word house in the title. There's no house on the cover. I think this is a middle grade book. I might be, yeah, the girl's 10 years old, so yeah, it's set during one of the world wars. I don't know whether it's World War I or World War II, but I'm excited to read it. The next prompt is to read a book in the same room the whole time, and I chose Our Numbered Days by Neil Hilburn. I'm really into Neil Hilborn's poetry. I first saw him on Button Poetry's website or YouTube. They posted a video of him reading, and I picked up this book like a couple years ago after I saw that video, but I still haven't read it, and I'm hoping to read it all in this very room just before I go to bed, read a couple poems every night, and just kind of relax. Next is to read a book set somewhere where you would like to go. So, as we all know, I was in Europe for the year. I studied abroad in France, and I went to tons of different European countries, and I had a really great time. But one place that I would really love to go that obviously didn't go to this year, but in the future, is Egypt. And this book, In a Perfect World by Trish Dollar, is set in Egypt. This was on my TBR for something last summer and I never got to it, so I'm excited to be getting to it now, and hopefully it just gives me those fun traveling vibes because I am feeling that travel bug and I can't go anywhere. Lastly, the prompt was to read a book that will make you smile. And this one was actually the hardest prompt for me because a lot of the books on my TBR are either like murder mysteries or they're just like typical YA books, and again, YA books kind of stress me out sometimes with the love triangles and stuff, but I ended up choosing Maybe This Time by Casey West, which I have an ARC of, even though it came out July 9th of last year. I love Casey West, and even though sometimes they stress me out because all love stories have the whole they fall in love and then suddenly there's an argument and they don't communicate but then they come back together at the end, and it's the coming back together that makes it worth it, right? But Casey West books always, always, always make me smile, and I'm sure this one will be no different. And that is all for this video. If you liked it, please make sure to give it a huge thumbs up. You can comment down below if you are participating and what you're reading, or just something that made you smile today. This is a really difficult time for all of us, I think, and I've been loving watching creators' content and just kind of escaping from the worry and the fear for a little bit. So I hope that this video helps you guys to do the same. And if you want to see more from me, you can always hit that subscribe button. It means a lot, and I would love to have you join our little book family over here. Thanks so much for watching. Bye!